A man was happily using the toilet when suddenly a spider crawled out of it. The story then goes back to the day before, when a spy was interrogating a traitor using a spider monster created by a scientist. The huge spider crawled from the man's chest to his face, terrifying him. The scientist, who had developed these spiders, shouted angrily at the spy, saying that the spiders were not made for torture or killing. But the spy didn't care. He ordered the scientist to send a batch of newly bred spiders by plane to America for further research. He even threatened to kill the scientist if he refused. The scientist had no choice but to obey. The next day, the spiders were packed into a wooden crate and loaded into the plane's cargo hold. Shortly after takeoff, the plane experienced turbulence and the crate fell to the ground. The scientist sitting at the back of the plane became very worried that something might go wrong. His fears soon became real. The crate broke open and spiders began crawling out. Flight attendant Zhao Mei went to check after hearing noises in the cargo hold. Another jolt shook the plane, making her almost fall, but she reached the crate only to find it empty. When she stood up, a huge spider appeared behind her. Soon the plane steadied, but an alarm went off warning that the cargo hold was overheating. The co-pilot went to investigate, while the nervous scientist asked another flight attendant, a blonde woman, to help him check the crate. She brushed it off, telling him not to worry. In the cargo hold, the co-pilot found spider webs everywhere, and Zhao Mei's body wrapped inside them. When he turned around, countless spiders were crawling all over. His screams alerted passengers. The blonde attendant calmed them with excuses, unaware of the real danger. Meanwhile, a bearded passenger put on his contact lenses, not realizing a spider had crawled into the case. The spider got into his eye, causing bleeding and blindness. In the cargo hold, spiders grew in number and moved into the passenger area. One spider tried to crawl into a sleeping man's mouth, but he unknowingly swatted it away. The bearded man tied a bandage over his bleeding eye. Spiders then bit an old man by crawling up his pants, and the blonde attendant took him to the medical area while the scientist grew more uneasy. Back in the cockpit, alarms kept ringing, and with the co-pilot not returning, the captain switched to autopilot and went to check himself. He discovered 2 dead bodies and many spiders. Fleeing back to the cabin, he was covered in blood and shouted for everyone to run to the back of the plane. Soon after, he collapsed. Passengers panicked as spiders attacked. Those who ran too slowly were swarmed and bitten to death. The bearded man was locked inside the bathroom and survived the first attack. As people fled, the blonde attendant fell down and a spider jumped on her chest. Terrified, she froze, but another passenger, a woman with long hair, bravely smashed the spider with a fire extinguisher. She then saved another man by crushing a spider on his back with a suitcase. Other passengers joined in, killing spiders with whatever they could find. Exhausted and traumatized, they finally cleared the ones near them. The long-haired woman told everyone to rest, warning more danger was coming. At that moment, a giant spider entered first class and began attacking wealthy passengers. One man wearing headphones didn't notice until it was too late. The surviving passengers in the back of the plane wondered why so many giant spiders were on board. The scientist finally confessed that he brought them. A furious woman punched him. He apologized sincerely, saying he was only following orders. The blonde attendant scolded him angrily, but then reminded everyone that being angry wouldn't help. They needed to figure out how to land the plane. Both pilots were dead or missing, and though autopilot was still on, the fuel wouldn't last forever. The bathroom door finally unlocked, and the bearded man came out. He suggested the long-haired woman try flying the plane, since she had once learned to pilot. She was unsure if she could handle it, but with no better choice, everyone agreed. Meanwhile, in another part of the cabin, 2 survivors were hiding near a giant spider, too scared to move. One of the 2 men hiding near the giant spider tried to save himself by betraying the other. He threw a comb near his companion to make a noise, which caught the spider's attention. The spider immediately attacked and killed the other man. Thinking his plan had worked, the betrayer ran happily into the bathroom. But when he opened the door, a swarm of spiders rushed inside and devoured him instantly. Meanwhile, the long-haired woman finally gathered courage with everyone's support. The group armed themselves with makeshift weapons and fought their way toward the cockpit. On the way, they killed many spiders together and successfully protected the long-haired woman until she reached the cockpit. Inside, she discovered the captain was still alive but very weak. He encouraged her to land the plane, but before he could share the full password needed, he died. This left her panicking and unsure of what to do. Outside, the others kept watch when a giant spider crept toward them. They tried to hide, but the spider sensed them anyway and attacked. A man was about to be killed, and the blonde attendant bravely stepped forward to fight. Unfortunately, her weapon was too weak. Both she and the man were killed by the spider. Inside, the long-haired woman desperately tried different things with the plane controls, while the spider slowly approached her. She attempted to contact the control tower by radio, but the signal failed. In desperation, she called her father, who used to be a pilot. He told her to reset the flight system, turn off autopilot, and slowly pull back the throttle. He also promised to contact the tower for her, but before he could finish, the call cut out, leaving her to handle everything alone. The battle outside the cockpit grew worse. The scientist foolishly tried to appeal to the spider, asking for mercy since he was the one who raised it. The spider immediately dragged him through a window, killing him. Now only 4 people remained: the long-haired woman, the bearded man, a black-clothed woman, and another survivor. The giant spider climbed to the top of the plane. The bearded man saw that the black-clothed woman was badly injured, so he went to fetch a first aid kit. As the plane neared the airport, hope returned to the survivors. But just then, turbulence struck. The 2 women left the cockpit to find the bearded man, only to see him fighting the spider. He thought he had beaten it, but in the next second, the spider's leg pierced through his body. The black-clothed woman quickly opened the emergency door, and the sudden air pressure sucked the giant spider outside. But she too was pulled out. She tried to cling to safety, yet the spider stabbed her and dragged her away. Heartbroken, the other woman returned to the cockpit and told the long-haired woman what happened. The bearded man, though gravely injured, was still alive and might survive. Finally, the plane approached the runway. The long-haired woman forced herself to stay strong, gripping the controls tightly. She managed to bring the plane down smoothly. At the same time, the giant spider, clinging to the top, lost its grip from the force and was crushed under the landing wheels. The passengers who survived were safe at last. This was the ending of the 2025 British horror movie Flight of Doom.